Hi everybody, welcome to the workshop. I'm running low on 40k detailing bits, so I'm going to have to cast a bunch. And I'm going to make a bunch myself. I'm thinking computer panels, vents from small to larger types. But first I'm going to start with these little electrical boxes. These were cut from 2mm thick EPVC. Detailing was done with strips of cardboard, styrene rod, and everything was glued together with super glue. With the electrical boxes out of the way, it's time to make some computers, some panels, some screens. These were cut from 2 and 1.5mm thick styrene plating, and I added a bunch of detailing. The screens are made from these, which are used to be sewn on a shirt, but are really plastic junk. So perfect for these kinds of projects. I used the red center and the gold trim. These are simple beads that I got in a set, and the round styrene plates are cut with these punch machines. Okay, the computers are done. Time to make some vents and some little doohickeys like lightning fixtures, little cupboards, stuff like that. The vents are made from washers out of the garage. I glued on some different sizes of styrene rod, 2mm, 1mm. The biggest vent with the star pattern, these are pieces of 1mm thick styrene glued on. The excess glue was removed with a little strip of cardboard, and then the big outer ring. I can't remember where I found this plastic ring. I think it's from some plumbing material, but it's really handy and the size is perfect. For the tall vents I used strips of styrene glued in. However, these are way too big for the small washers, so these are sculpted in with a little bit of green stuff. I can highly recommend the silicone tipped tools that I'm using here. And then I simply used a flat chiseled one to sculpt in some lines to simulate the grading in the vents. Same principle for the lighting fixtures. These are wooden beads cut in half, and then I used small strips of green stuff. With the masters done, it's time to start and make a casing for the silicone pour. This is simply done with 3mm thick foam board that I have laying around, cut to size, and then with copious amounts of hot glue I attach the sides to the base. Time to make the molds. I'm going to use a 2-part silicone rubber that's been laying around in my cupboard for a couple of years. Still seems to be fine. However, it has become much thicker throughout the time. I had quite some trouble getting this stuff out. However, with a good crafting knife, there you go. Messing around with this stuff made me realize that maybe it's wise to wear some freaking gloves. so I can safely add the B component. In regards to ratios and stuff, just read the description and all shall be well. I mix the two components for a couple of minutes until I reach thorough consistency, and then I use a little spatula to lay down a first layer over all the small details to get rid of the bubbles, and then I can pour in the rest, centimeter thick. This is a slow curing silicone rubber which is going to help with the air bubbles. I give it a bunch of taps for what it's worth, but hey, let's hope for the best. With the rubber hardening, it's time to make a bunch of blue stuff, molds. For this I glue my bits to a piece of styrene which fits into this Lego made square. I cut up the required amount of blue stuff, and then I dunk it into a cup of hot water just below boiling temperature. I let it soak for a couple of minutes until it becomes nice and soft. Then it's simply a matter of pressing it into the mold. Be careful not to burn yourself with the blue stuff. And then I use a bunch of Lego bricks to really press in firmly. This is important so you can get all the cool little details from the models and so you have a nice flat bag for when pouring the casts. I lay the blue stuff in the fridge for 5 minutes and then I can simply demold. After about 20 hours of hardening, it's time to get out the silicone molds. Gently rip apart the foam board and separate from the bottom. And there you have it. Nice. Some of the models stuck in there, but those were easily removed. Time for some casting. First up, I'm going to start with some acrylic resin by Green Stuff World. Very easy, it's non-toxic, it's easy to clean up, just use some water. Let's make a small batch. Once again, simply follow the instructions. It's 3:1 ratio. Give it a thorough mix. To minimize the risk for bubbles, I once again use a little spatula to add just a little bit of the resin into the details before I can pour in some more. This is not a fail-proof method, but it surely helps get rid of some of the bubbles. I let these dry for about 40 minutes because they are quite thin and vulnerable. The casts came out great with minimal bubbling, just a little bit of cleanup. I'm not only going to use acrylic resin, I am also going to use UV resin. This so I can have some translucent casts. These casts are also a little bit stronger than the acrylic, so ideal to make the larger vents with. After making sure I'm rid of all the bubbles, I pop these into the UV light oven for a couple of minutes. And this is the result. A whole bunch of detailing bits ready to be used in older and of course newer projects. If you do not want to miss out, make sure to subscribe, like, leave me a comment. If you want to check out my social media, links in the description below. Also some means if you want to support the channel. Once again, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you soon for a new update. Till then, bye!